Tyson Jackson and Jake Stevens to jump it up in the center circle. And we are underway, the 5th of 6 games in this UNO Classic, and the Keydets will have the ball first against man-to-man UNO defense. Stevens up top, had 9 assists yesterday, an excellent passer who's trouble in the deep post as well, and you can see he can handle the ball well for a big man. There's their leading scorer, Kerfman, shooting a 3 off target, and the Privateers with the first rebound of the game. Troy Green across the timeline will slow things up, and Daniel Sackey with the basketball now, the point guard, making his first New Orleans start. He's played really well in this event. Up top, Robbie Robinson looking to feed the post to Jackson. The Middle Tennessee transfer passes it out. Now Green to a wide open Derek St. Hilaire, and the leading scorer for New Orleans and tops in the Southland starts off with a long ball.
That was good ball movement by the Privateers. Ball went side to side, and they caused the defense to shift for an open shot by Derek St. Hilaire.
And Honor Huff, who's making his second start of the year in place of an unavailable Trey Bonomu, was the regular starting point guard for the Keydets. Played in the first game of this event and wasn't available after that, apparently in street clothes today. Now St. Hilaire will try to make it 2 for 2 and miss off the back iron as the big man Stevens comes up with his first rebound. Camden Kerfman, an excellent scorer that really fits this offense well. He handles it well, and he's a brilliant spot-up shooter. Now we see Stevens taking it at the UNO big man, and it's out of bounds, last touch by New Orleans.
Jake Stevens is a load in there at 6'11", 266, and they might even give him a little slim fest for breakfast this morning.
Depends on what day they wager, right, Coach?
Exactly.
Inbounds fight underneath the glass, and Troy Green on the floor battling for it, and it'll be off of Green, out of bounds, as Sean Conway for VMI, the intended target, and Green battled on the baseline. 3-0 UNO, 18:38 to go first half. Kerfman takes it baseline right into the paint he goes, and a reach-in foul will go against New Orleans on the floor.
They've got good spacing in their offense, speaking of VMI. But the Privateers came out just playing really good defense.
Good closeout there on the shot in the corner for 3 off target by Connor Arnold. And here comes UNO. Derek St. Hilaire slowing things up. You know, the Privateer veteran guards Green and St. Hilaire combined for 14 turnovers yesterday, and they're trying to be more careful with the basketball as Jackson's fouled underneath. And that's why Daniel Sackey's getting the start today. On the flip side, he didn't turn over the ball at all yesterday and had 5 assists.
Yeah, he did a good job running the team yesterday, but it seemed like they've been instructed to get that ball inside to Tyson Jackson today.
Up top with it, Sackey, directing traffic. Now Robinson, who can shoot from out there straight away and hits the jumper just inside the arc.
Saw him working on the shot earlier this morning before the game, and he put up a lot of shots. So he's shot that first one with a lot of confidence.
Always the first guy in the gym, and bouncing back from a foot injury that cost him the start, although he's played in every game in this tournament. A couple days ago, that is, as into the corner with it. Privateers really hounding the perimeter and making VMI dribble-oriented. That's a big plus if UNO can keep doing that. Kerfman now into the paint, stripped away, and St. Hilaire picks up the loose ball. He'll attack Huff the other way and finish between 2 Keydets.
Way to attack. That was a good defensive possession as well.
7-0 UNO early. Now Kerfman from deep, not able to hit the tray. The rebound to Robinson, who can handle a little bit as well. Finds St. Hilaire from the parking lot for 3. And D. Saint showing you why. Freshman. It's a big loss to not have Trey Bonham, the main facilitator offensively, if you're the Keydets.
Well, Brendan Watkins is a freshman, and you asking a lot for a freshman to run a team on the road. I'm not sure if he's ready for prime time. He logs 11 minutes a game, so he's got some opportunities.
And not shy. The one thing this whole team can do, shoot the long ball, and Watkins coming right in and putting them on the board. They will keep shooting those, Coach, and sometimes, hey, a team that shoots that many, they're going to make a few. Well, Troy Green trying to answer off back iron and misses.
I think Watkins want to prove a point to me. I said I'm not sure if he's ready. 3-pointer by Watkins.
Now on the trail, getting the ball back, and just like that, VMI shows you they're never out of a game very long as Kerfman hits his first 3.
But they're coming back into a 1-2-2 press, dropping back in a 2-3 zone, it seems.
Kerfman scoring 22 yesterday in VMI's win over UCA. And just like that, the Keydets within 4. Now St. Hilaire fakes the 3 this time, pulls up on the baseline, misses about a 17-footer. Fight for the loose ball goes all the way to half court, and New Orleans with another look at it. Saki will take possession, and again, he's a vocal leader, slowing New Orleans down. Green, an excellent penetrator, misses 205 of their 377 total field goal attempts from behind the arc. So there's no mystery how VMI likes to attack offensively. Here is Kerfman, the leading scorer for VMI, to Sean Conway on the right wing. Kerfman gets it back, and the big man Stevens coming out to try to set a screen for him. Privateers really hounding the ball again. VMI struggling to find space with 3 on the shot clock. The short jumper missed by Conway, and the rebound to Robinson in New Orleans.
Very good defensive stop on that possession. They're very, very active. A lot of hands, quick feet, a lot of talking. Forced a contested jump shot.
Robinson made one from that spot straight away inside the arc earlier, missed this time, and now down the floor. Stevens fed over the top for a layup as the big man got deep position. 10-8, an 8-0 VMI run here. As Stevens on the board on the assist from Lewis Tang. Somebody bouncing back from a serious knee injury last year. Had 8 points and 8 rebounds yesterday off the bench. Now St. Hilaire will launch another long ball. That'll go over the glass off the rim to the Keydets.
Well, they played a 2-3 zone that possession. They tried to force you to shoot jump shots between that 2-3 zone and their switching defense. That can kind of confuse you, whether you're going to run a man offense or a zone offense. But UNO got a good look. The ball just in drop form on that possession.
Deshaun Allen Ikens coming in along with Simeon Kirkland, who's played well recently in the post, a couple of New Orleans transfers. Privateers going with a 4-guard look. Straight away 3 from deep as an air ball out of bounds on the miss by Tanner Mans. And if you're UNO and you're pushing them out further from the arc, even a shooting team like VMI, you don't mind seeing that. Now Saki creating quickly in transition down low, and Kirkland brought the ball down and Mann stripped him.
Well, when you bring that ball down, you might as well be 3 feet because he brought it down to a point guard size. You got to keep that thing chinned and up high.
On the cut, here is Tang on the catch, traveled down low. The backdoor game really hasn't gotten going yet for VMI, but they do have some slashers who are really good cutting off the basketball. Old school Princeton style Pete Carrill offense, and for UNO just old school going at it quickly down the floor. Troy Green gets it to drop off the back of the rim in the paint for his first 2.
I thought UNO did a good job of executing against that press.
Allen Ikens off the poke behind steal by Derek St. Hilaire has UNO in possession again. Saki in the paint, pull-up jumper, misses from 12 feet, and VMI with the basketball. 12-8, UNO leads it inside 13 and a half minutes to go in this opening half. Stevens outside the arc, he can shoot it from there. We'll put it on the floor against Kirkland and kick baseline for an open shot that Tang misses everything. Stevens had it momentarily, knocked out of bounds, last touch by Green and UNO.
I like the way the Privateers are attacking the press. They are not patient. VMI is not as patient. That I think UNO's got something to do with it, with the pressure they're bringing defensively.
St. Hilaire with his first breather in this one. Kamani Dowdy checking in for UNO. Lob to Stevens right outside the paint. He'll try to back down Kirkland. Jump hook is short. And Simeon Kirkland and the Privateers clear the boards. VMI playing a little faster in the half court, which I think is what the Privateers wanted to see. Green shows shot, doesn't put it up. Kirkland wants the ball. Green comes inside the arc, more comfortable range for the Privateer senior. And he scored a couple times in a row down the floor to put UNO back up 6 at 14-8. Stevens up top. Into the hands of Mans. Back to Stevens for 3, and the 6'11" all SoCon preseason selection shows you can do a little bit of everything.
Yeah, the big fella's very comfortable shooting at 3 too. These guys are all making about 13 3-pointers a game or more.
Kirkland wanted the ball on the baseline. It looks like he got called for a push-off, and the Privateers turn it over there. It helps when you have everybody on the court that can shoot the three ball. You've got to recruit to it, and it's hard to find the type of shooters that shoot well enough to make an offense like this work so you can be a competitive team and put together a winning record. But no question about it, this has been done by head coach Dan Earl in his 7th season at VMI, the reigning SoCon Coach of the Year.
Yeah, coach has done a good job in taking over the VMI program.
Troy Green with a steal, picking the pocket of Mans on the baseline. Other way with it, looking to get to the rim, falling down, no whistle, offensive rebound. Simeon Kirkland puts it up and in. 16-11, UNO leads it. Keydets get it right back though as Mans spotting up. You got to get back on them. They want to play a little faster today and try to get open looks after the good UNO defense early. And the three ball will be key as the Keydets are now 4 of 8 from behind the three-point line. Here is Dowdy on the dribble to Sackey, fakes the pass, now looks to drive. Gets it up over Stevens, but not able to complete the layup. And Stevens, with the loose ball, puts it in the hands of Watkins, the freshman point guard. Will set things up here. The taller Dowdy, pretty good defender after a 10-0 UNO start.
Yeah, with them shooting 50% from three-point land, that quickly got them back in because UNO got off to a good start. But something about that three-pointer makes a huge difference if you don't guard and contest those three-pointers or make them shoot on the run. But I think UNO is doing a good job with their pressure defense. They've hit some tough shots.
And UNO able to force a shot to try to beat the shot clock. That was an air ball. Privateers able to run with it as Dowdy picked it up. Here is St. Hilaire picking up right where he left off on the UNO Mardi Gras logo, 25 plus feet away. 3 from deep, St. Hilaire already in double figures with 11. UNO up 19-14.
Well, I like the idea of them pushing that ball in transition. They sucking the defense down in the paint, and then they swinging it back out to a very good jump shot by St. Hilaire.
Contested 3 over the long arms of Simeon, and Sean Conway hits his first three-pointer. It's Derek St. Hilaire hot from 3 against an entire team. Can he stay hot? He cannot. Off back rim, and the rebound to the Keydets. And they show that they can run as Mans beating a disjointed UNO defense to tie the game on the layup. Halfway through this one, and the Keydets have worked their way back into it. The shooting is there, and that opens up other things if you're a team that prefers to be in the half court, but shows they can run a little bit. Now inside with it and called for the travel is Simeon Kirkland. He went into the big man Stevens with nowhere to go.
It was almost like running to the wall. Stevens didn't even move. He's a really solid built kid. And then they bring in another big guy in off the bench that's just as big, and Lewis Rowe.
The Aussie, a freshman, and certainly he fits the type. 6'10", 260-pounder, and a pretty good ball handler up top as well. Moves well off the ball, so this 5-out system can keep a defense moving. Here is Mans handing off to Kerfman, who's been a bit quiet. His teammates, though, have picked up the slack. The 19-point-a-game score matched up with Daniel Sackey for New Orleans. Back out to Rowe. Shot clock again draining on the Keydets. Here is Huff to the basket. He misses, but he ran into Tyson Jackson, and the Privateers called for the personal.
When that high ball screen is set in their VMI's offense, the guy who's guarding the screener has got to talk and let his guards know they're being screened.
Honor Huff, and that's a good name for somebody going to a military school, right? First name Honor, 5'10" freshman out of Brooklyn, New York, and some trial by fire getting into the starting lineup here in place of the unavailable Trey Bonham. He makes the first of 2 free throws here on the year for Huff, averaging 6 points per game. 4 for 4 at the line, and make it 5 for 5 as the Keydets enjoy their first lead of the contest at 21-19.
Yeah, but only you could catch that honor part at a military school. I'm looking at the last name. He's huffing and puffing.
Oh, there it is. See, there's more than one way. My grandmother used to say skin a cat, but I've never seen that done, and I don't think I ever want to.
No.
Troy Green feeding Deontay Bell, the second-year UNO freshman, who passes it back out. Again, not able to get the shot up over the big man, Rowe. And on the missed jumper, we've got a loose ball foul. It looks like a hold going against the Keydets.
Well, today's officials are Courage Sitton, Garrett Theriot, and Adrian Jude, a very good officiating crew today.
Gary Sitton, one of the veterans of
Yep.
this region, without a doubt. As the inbounds will go to Troy Green. Kamani Dowdy, and a touch for Saki, as UNO trying to work the ball inside, trying to be more patient in the half court today. Robinson finds the cutter. Green lay it up and in. Doesn't get much better than that, Coach, off the ball.
Good pass by Robbie Robinson. Good cut as well by Troy Green.
6 points for Green. UNO tying it at 21. 8:30 clock running first half. Mans under pressure from the Privateers. Senior Green back out to Huff. And when UNO's been able to push the offense out, good things have happened. Huff not able to shoot. Shot clock draining again on the Keydets. Kerfman gets a screen from Rowe, throws up the runner, and what a finish, soft and high off the glass. A scorer's bucket for Camden Kerfman, his second field goal of the game. Now in the lane, penetration by Saki, creating off the dribble after the catch and the jumper inside the arc. First bucket for Kamani Dowdy.
Yeah, Dowdy was very patient on that shot. Good ball fake, created space for an open jumper.
Huff will launch one straight away, and the board cleared by Deontay Bell. Saki not having numbers, but goes at the entire Keydet defense. UNO dominated early, and VMI starting to get their shooting going.
You know, the last break, VMI was shooting 50% from three-point land. UNO has cut it down to at least 45%. If they can continue to get that percentage down, they give themselves a chance to win.
Robbie Robinson, 2 for 3, shooting from basically the same spot inside the arc straight away. He's got 4 points, and UNO back up by a bucket. Privateers led by 10 early. On a 10-0 run, VMI responded with an 8-0 spurt. This game's been pretty evenly played since then. Here's a pull-up by Kerfman, another tough shot to have to take, and it doesn't go down. Long rebound by the Keydets, though, for another look as we're inside 7 minutes to go in the first half. Watkins looking to penetrate, falls hard to the floor, and the foul called on New Orleans.
Yeah, Watkins is pretty pesky. He hadn't played much, but he comes in. He's playing really hard. You've got to make sure you contain him, but respect his three-point shooting.
Injury leading to opportunity. You never know when you're the next man up, and Watkins getting more minutes here as a result of missing Trey Bonham. Now top of the key, Conway, a tough three, and drains it. And VMI stays hot from deep and retakes the lead by 1.
Okay, they're dropping back into a 2-3 matchup zone. You got to move the ball. You can't hold it and expect to have success. Move the ball side to side, inside out. Attack the gaps.
Down low, Bell trying to fight for position. Nothing available. Troy Green back to Saki, will launch a 3, and Daniel Saki will hit a career-high 3 of those against UCA 2 days ago. That's the best way to bust a zone sometimes, Coach. Prove you can hit the outside shot.
Yep. Saki proved that, but I thought the Privateers had a good sense to hit that open man.
Stevens into the corner, the 3 for Kerfman off target. Fight for the rebound, and a held ball is called.
Error goes to UNO.
As Robinson going at it with Connor Arnold, and UNO with possession and a lead by a bucket. Kamani Dowdy will check out, and Derek St. Hilaire with a nice rest here in the first half. Back in, you got to see if he can reheat things after the great start. He's hit 3 from deep so far, and that's another way if the Keydets keep playing the zone, you get another shooter on the floor. For the starting 5 for the Privateers out there, along with Deontay Bell. And it looks like the Keydets will match up man-to-man this time, and Robinson keeps shooting it from there and misses this time as Watkins looks to go the other way. Privateers trying to match up, and Troy Green called for the foul on the arm on the big man Stevens on the pass-off. Actually, it looks like Bell whistled for the foul, and I think he's a little surprised. And I'm not sure that's correct. It's probably 3 versus 33, but if you're UNO, you'd rather it stay that way with the starter Green. That was the 7th team foul, so that'll put the big man Stevens at the line. We saw the touch on the long 3 from him earlier. He's a really good free throw shooter as well. 87% on the season.
Yeah, he's their best free throw shooter, but they're shooting 76% as a team from the free throw line.
1-and-1 chance here, and nothing but net on the first for Stevens. Averaging over 28 minutes per game. He's a big man, but he seems to have good stamina. They're able to ride him heavy minutes, and such a key to their attack because of his ability to play all over the floor. Gets the shooter's roll on the second foul shot, as we're once again tied in this one, now at 28. Sean Allen Eikens back on the floor for UNO, puts it in the hands of Green and gets it back in the lane. He'll go at Conway, now kick out to St. Hilaire. The fake of the shot, the pass back to Allen Eikens, who will try to penetrate here. Finds a wide open Saki, straightaway 3, off back iron, and the board to VMI and Conway. UNO with the right idea, Coach, trying to get in the middle defensively, particularly against the zone.
Yeah, I think that with VMI's zone defense, there are going to be some open opportunities if UNO continue to reverse that basketball.
Watkins rushed that right wing 3. Green with the board, other way with it in the hands of St. Hilaire, looking for Bell and missed him on the wraparound pass. Watkins against Green in transition, misses the layup, but Tang all alone for the follow and the bank in. First bucket for the young man from Taiwan, the other international on the team, along with Rowe, the big Australian. 30-28 VMI with 4:20 to go in the first half. Really entertaining game and a contrast of styles for the fans to enjoy at Lakefront Arena. Now Allen Eikens puts his shoulder down and drives and gets the call, as that time Tang couldn't get in position despite a lot of contact. Like you said, Coach, they got it right. Wasn't able to move his feet, and Allen Eikens saw the seam and attacked it.
Well, that's a good veteran official to be able to see that. That's not a block, but I thought that was a good penetrating move. And UNO's got to continue to attack the gap to that zone.
That's Allen Eikens at his best, the former freshman of the year in the Summit League, trying to get things going offensively in his first year as a Privateer. UNO down 2, and with the basketball, working it around the arc, nearing the 4-minute mark of this first half. Simeon Kirkland back in, passing to Saki. Saki with the shot clock down to 5, trying to find a way through and can't. He'll cross over and launch one, and not able to get it to drop. Tang clearing it for the Keydets, and Huff will bring it across the timeline with a 2-point lead for VMI. The screen from Stevens, leaving him wide open on the pick and pop. Instead, he'll dribble in and knock it in from the foul line.
Big fella's got good touch. He's got a good three-point shooter. You definitely got to pressure him on all catches.
9 points in the game for him. Green from the mid-range misses the good look. Another rebound for Stevens, as he has 4 to go along with 9 points, 2 assists. Kerfman trying to get in on the action with the step-back 3, misses it. Stripped away from Tang and saved by the Privateers up ahead to Saki. To the trailer, St. Hilaire. He'll bomb away and can't get it to go down. The rebound by Kirkland, out to Allen Eikens for 3. And the Privateers get the second look, and Allen Eikens with the spot-up bomb.
That was a good kick out by Simeon Kirkland.
Back and forth they go. VMI's lead down to 1. Now Tang, baseline left, trying to get around Allen Eikens. And played ball game, I think, Coach, on both ends.
Yes, it has been. What I do like, UNO seem to have settled down defensively. The percentage of that three-point shooting has gone from 50 early in the game to 40% right now.
Privateers looking to go inside to the big guard, Allen Eikens. A nice jump hook. Good deep position on the feed from Green.
That was a good play that was drawn up during that timeout by Coach Lessinger.
5 points for Allen Eikens, coming off the bench today and responding well on both ends as UNO leads by a single point. Stevens puts it in the hands of Lewis Tang and gets it right back. The big man up top against Kirkland, patient with the basketball as Huff has it. But again, the shot clock draining on the Keydets. Huff back to Stevens, a long three, off back iron in the board to Derek Sainalay.
That shot was right on line to go in. UNO caught a break on that.
Alan Eikens drives, kicks it back out, elbow jumper, and what a friendly bounce for the soft shooting Kirkland off rim glass and in for his first bucket.
Yeah, glad to see Kirkland get off to a pretty good start right now.
Correction, his second basket, his first jumper in the game, and he's been good in this tournament. Kerfman finds Huff in the corner, three ball rims out, loose ball whistle comes, and it will go against the Keydets.
Keydets is not sure about shooting that three-point shot. I'm not sure if that's the shot Coach Earl wanted in that possession. But it was an advantage for the Privateers.
They came in at 39% from deep in the game, and after hitting a few early around the 50% mark, like you said, Privateers able to contest more of these threes. It's hard to do against Stevens when he's 6'11", but everybody else having a tougher time of it. And that's part of the winning formula if you are UNO, as they have a three-point lead here with 1:20 to go with possession of the rock. St. Hilaire to Green coming near side. Patient on the dribble against Kerfman, trying to size him up. Will find Dowdy in the corner and get it right back. Inside 10 to shoot for the Privateers. Dowdy comes right side. Alan Eikens fakes at the elbow, passes off to Green, shoots with 2 on the shot clock and misses everything in the end. Maybe a little too unselfish there by UNO as Stevens came up with the board. Now Conway back out top. Stevens, always a threat from there, faked the shot before the handoff to Kerfman. He gets it back, he shoots from deep, and what a soft touch for a big man. It is awfully impressive to see him knock down the three. That's his second of the game, and he has 12 points to lead all scores and tied it up again for the Keydets.
Yeah, the big fella's got some good touch on that three-point shot.
Alan Eikens hits the three and a whistle away from the ball. And we'll see who it is. 10-1 at home, so a tough building to play in at VMI as well. But
this looked like a boxing one, possibly, huh?
Giving another different look. They'll switch defenses a lot. They're trying to match up as the clock down to 7. Green trying to feed the post, gets the deflection back. Saki left side three, too strong, and the rebound to Kerfman, who can't get the shot off from half court to count before the end of the half.
Yeah, they did. They face guarded Dirk.
38 to 37. Coach, it's important to note the Privateers in this UNO Classic have shot over 60% in the second halves of both ball games, hoping to continue that today.
Yeah, that's going to be important. Defensively, though, they've got to get out their comfort zone. That's that first possession.
Contested three there, and Connor Arnold short on it. The rebound cleared by the Privateers. And you said first 2 or 3 possessions of the half defensively for UNO could set the tone for the rest of the game.
Yeah. Well, we certainly hope so.
Tyson Jackson, though, trying a tough pass without looking, but the loose ball winds up to Troy Green, and the Privateers luck out as Green hits the open mid-range jet.
Yeah, that was a lucky break for the Privateers. They capitalized off of it with Troy Green's jump shot.
8 points for Green on 4 of 10 shooting now, trying to create Conway on the dribble. Looked like an open shot was there for Arnold. He passed it off. In trouble, Conway throws it away. Up ahead, Saki after the steal gets the layup. And UNO with 2 straight buckets to start the half to lead by 5.
All right, here's the kill now. You get 3 straight, that's called a kill.
Handoff, and again, not shooting as Arnold. Outside the lane, Stevens will go at Jackson. Double teamed and scored over both of them anyway. Jake Stevens now with 14 points. He's awfully good.
Yeah, he is. He's awfully good. He's awfully big. He's awfully talented.
42-39 the score. 90 seconds have expired here in the second half as Jackson, with a matchup he likes, able to shoot it over Conway. And that's a matchup that Tyson Jackson should win all day.
Yeah, I'm glad to see Tyson being aggressive on that move. Use his left hand. Nice touch.
Privateers up 5, led by 10 early in the game. VMI at one point led by 4 late in the first half. And now Derek St. Hilaire with the clean strip. Other way with it, layup, good over Huff. And just up to 53% in the game and leading 46-39 as VMI has the ball in the backcourt and trying to respond to this early UNO run out of the locker room.
Yeah, UNO's points off of turnovers is 12-4.
And Huff will try to create off the dribble. Mann's open three in the corner, and the rebound allows Derek St. Hilaire to take off again. He goes right into Huff, and a great job in transition by Huff defensively to draw the charge. No way around him that time, Coach. Really tough to retreat like that and then find that position when you need it in the lane.
Are you saying that the official didn't blew that call?
No, I'm not. I'm giving him credit for saying that's a good job. I've been accused at the times as Huff, great job on the drive in the mid. I've been accused in the past of doing that, but I have changed my ways.
Well, Coach
referees
Schlesinger,
are people too. I had to learn that lesson.
I know they'll blow a call every now and then, just like a player will blow the assignment.
Huff with the stop on one end and the bucket on the other one. VMI really needed it to draw the Keydets within 5. Here is Saki, who's responded well to his first start. Back to Green against the VMI zone. Privateers trying to get it to Jackson. Face up on the baseline and the jumper short. He got a good look in the end, but UNO really struggled to find the space that time in the zone, and I'm sure the Keydets are going to keep switching these defenses. Huff will launch one from 3. That's not his game, but Mann's the offensive rebound. Kerfman can certainly hit the 3, but doesn't that time. Really quiet game from Kerfman, who's been shut down by UNO so far, just 2 for 8 shooting. Now Saki sweeps across the lane, and what a shot.
That was an old school hook shot.
Yeah, I haven't seen
Saki must
that.
be about my age, 60, huh?
He's got that in his bag, old school point guard, with the traditional, we'll call it, finish. How about that? Daniel Saki putting UNO up 7. He has 7 in the game. Kerfman facing up, goes middle of the 4, Conway. Now Huff trying to feed Stevens and poked away out of bounds by Jackson with 10 on the shot clock.
Yeah, that was good defensive possession by the Privateers. They've got to continue to stay active, finish up these next 4 minutes.
Mann's
before this media timeout.
Will pass it out. Kerfman will shoot an NBA range 3. Still can't find the mark. And Robinson clears for New Orleans.
As the old saying, you live by the jump shot, you can die by the jump shot.
No question about it. And VMI, like any team that relies on the 3, a little streaky. And a bad streak for them is good news for New Orleans as the Privateers look to add to their lead. Jackson at the free throw line. And has had the smaller guard on him against the zone, but passed it out.
You got to move the ball.
St. Hilaire can find offense often when it's not there, but short on the long 3. VMI gets a stop they really needed at this point with 15:30 to go. 48-41 UNO. Now Huff passing off the dribble to Mann's. And the dribble penetration not there for VMI so far. Stevens trying to work his way down low. UNO up 7 with the basketballs. We're back to play at Lakefront Arena. Jude Young along with the coach Tick Price. And for the Privateers, you talk about the mini games within the game. UNO just needs to win these 4-minute segments the rest of the way like they did out of the locker room. Down low it goes to Jackson against 2.
Move.
Wow, what a finish over Stevens. As he didn't turn into the double team, he felt the defense coach and got the layup.
Yep, that's the mark of a smart post player. And good feel for the post as well.
UNO up to 52% shooting. Watkins passing out of the trap. Now Stevens looking for the back door. Mann's stopped by Saki. But Stevens, there's that weapon again for 3. Jake Stevens, now 3 for 4 from deep. 17 points to lead all scores.
The Privateers did a good job taking away that back cut, and he kicked back out for a spot-up jumper.
St. Hilaire in the lane, the fadeaway from 13. And he's not going to let somebody else outscore him for too long. 15 points for D-Saint.
Well, that's the way they come back and answer.
52-44, UNO leads. Mann's left side with it. Back to Kerfman, who hasn't gotten much going. 2 for 10 shooting, 5 points. And a foul is called on New Orleans as Saki trying to chase down Kerfman. Whistled for his first personal.
VMI are coming off those ball screens and handoffs very tight, so you can't blow up those handoffs. So UNO's got to figure out now how you're going to play those curls and handoffs.
Alan Ikens, who had 8 points in the first half, making his first appearance since the break. And the lob goes from the baseline to Stevens against Simeon Kirkland. Trying to back him down. Kirkland holds his ground, gets a little help off the ball. Pass out, though, for three. Mans can't get it to drop. And St. Hilaire thought he had slapped it away from Conway, but called for the loose ball foul.
I tell you what, to give the Privateers a lot of credit, they've not given up any backdoors all day, because VMI, that's part of their offenses. If you overplay them, they'll try to back cut you.
Really well defending the Keydets after a tough turnaround, a 24-hour turnaround. Kerfman, again, out of his comfort zone, misses the three, but the second chance leads to a missed layup by Stevens and knocked away by Dowdy. UNO the other way with it. Sackey into the lane, to the hole, and draws the block in the restricted area. Daniel Sackey, he's taken it a couple times into multiple red shirts and made things happen in transition.
Yeah. Showing some toughness.
And all the while doing that without turning over the ball in 24 minutes, with it in his hands a lot. 7 points for him and a chance to add to it at the line. The first free throws of the game for New Orleans come with 13:31 to go in the second half. Sackey on the year, 5 of 7 at the stripe, and make it 6 of 8 with another to come. That really odd for this UNO team, between the penetrating guards and the post players, to not get to the line, but VMI pretty good defensively at avoiding fouling we've seen through the tournament, as Sackey makes both foul shots to match UNO's biggest lead of the game at 10. Watkins off the dribble, and Conway an open three. He misses, and UNO's forcing them to take deeper threes, I think, than they want. A big part of the winning equation here is VMI's down under 30% from three. Allen Ikens has a shot block from behind. Rebound Kirkland, and he is hacked across the arms on the follow attempt.
Well, the Privateers are very active. They control the offensive boards on that possession. They got to continue, but take that ball right through Stevens' chin. And don't worry about anything but just trying to finish in traffic.
Kirkland, first of 2 foul shots on this trip, up and in. And Simeon averaging 18 points per game, and he's been really productive in his time, averaging nearly 8 points per contest on 65% shooting. And to boot, now 8 of 11 at the line this season. Trying to improve on that number and make it a dozen for the UNO lead, and he does. For VMI, you're in danger here of letting this get out of range. As we near the 13-minute mark, they've got to find answers somewhere. Watkins gets himself tied up off the ball. Allen Ikens.
There you go.
There's been nothing going dribble penetration-wise today either, so really limiting the VMI offense is such a credit to this UNO coaching staff to get this team turned around and prepared for a difficult style of opponent.
Coach Schlesinger, Jody Bailey, Chris Arkenberg, Jay Smith, and Corey Dixon, all are doing a good job.
St. Hilaire isolated, now getting a screen from Kirkland, but passes it off. Allen Ikens given room to shoot from three, and he keeps hitting from downtown. 3 for 3 from deep, as Allen Ikens into double figures with 11. All pistons firing for UNO, up 59-44. 12:30 to go. Now Watkins room to drive baseline, not able to make the reverse layup. Sackey grabbing it and taking off down the floor. St. Hilaire fakes the shot, finds an open big man, lay it up and in. 12:13 to go, 61-44. UNO doing pretty much everything right here this first 8 minutes of the second half.
The second half, they're holding them to 29% from three-point land, and fast break-wise, 18-5.
But Conway got an open shot there as Dowdy tried to go for the steal. We've seen UNO stay disciplined in and around the arc. That time Conway getting a rare open look, and we were talking about that during the break too, Coach. The fact that these have been deeper threes than the line, and harder to make the deeper you are, and that's what UNO's been looking to do. Here's Allen Ikens, who's made his first game off the bench, a great one for UNO. Speaking of super deep from three, St. Hilaire misses the long ball. Allen Ikens fighting for it down low with Watkins. Held ball this time with the arrow going to the Keydets.
Well, if UNO hit a couple more shots, VMI might have to come out that zone.
Huff at the point, and we know these guys can heat up pretty quickly. VMI looking for penetration this time. It goes off the hands of Tang, and I'm not sure if it was knocked away from Huff or not, but this is a big loss for them with Trey Bonham being unavailable, to have a penetrating guard to give them a different look. And the Privateers able to take full advantage of it, leading 61-47. And this zone continues to change shape. UNO's had answers. Saki in the corner for three, a little too strong, and the board goes to Tang. Not a lot of running opportunities either today for VMI.
No, I thought UNO's transition defense is really good. They've gone over that scouting report, and the players are executing what's been asked of them to do to win the ball game.
And Tang travels with the basketball. UNO has cut off the dribble at all turns really in this game, and Tang, who's pretty good off the bounce, had 8 points, 8 rebounds last time out. He'll come out of the ball game as they're going to have to go with their best 5 here the rest of the way, Coach, if they want to claw back into this one.
Yeah. Well, one of the keys to the game for UNO was to outrun them in transition. They've been able to do that in terms of turnovers, points off of turnovers, and fast break points.
UNO also getting the starting 5 together back in the game, including Troy Green, who's well rested. On the bounce up top, Huff falls down. Green draws the extra defender and finds Saki, who goes down deep, keeps his patience on the dribble, and now will spin and shoot one from 10 and can't get it to drop. Privateers, after starting 9 of 12 in the half, missing their last 2 field goal attempts. VMI getting an open 3 for Huff, off back iron, and the long board picked up by Watkins, who will shoot one from deep and drill it. So a couple of threes for VMI after empty Privateer possessions, and a 17-point lead down to 11 inside 10 minutes to go. Saki, left side in front of his bench, back to Green. Troy, a screen from Robinson, tries to get it down low and threw it out of the reach of Tyson Jackson. That was a big story last game with St. Hilaire and Green combining for 14 turnovers. That's just for the duo, the 3rd turnover of the game. If you have empty possessions, you don't score. If you get shots up, you have a lead like UNO does now, as Saki comes up with the steal and St. Hilaire gets the layup on the breakout.
Transition buckets, that was part of their game plan, and the players heard their coach loud and clear.
Just 6 turnovers for UNO in the game, and the Privateers with the easy 2 off of the 13th Keydets turnover. Mann's near side with it. Out to Stevens, who hasn't had a chance to do anything offensively for a while. He wants to find an outlet to pass it to. Finds Conway on the back door, and the first time that's really worked for VMI all day. Will get Conway to the line.
Yeah, it's been like 31 minutes that the Privateer have defended that backdoor action.
And Conway,
done a good job with it.
Conway, that time is a bit more overplaying there, with the Privateers getting more aggressive, and that's the negative part that can happen more often than we've seen it today, as it goes around the world, the free throw attempt, and out. Conway's first miss in 3 tries. He's had 11 points. Stevens leading the way for the Keydets with 17. Matched by Derek St. Hilaire for New Orleans. Second foul shot up and in to make it a 12-point contest, as we're inside 9 minutes remaining from Lakefront Arena. And we have a stoppage of play in the front court. And this must be shot clock related. I'm not sure, Coach. 8:55 to go. And the shot clock says 24, but we're back at it. Maybe that wasn't it. They didn't change anything. The UNO back into the flow of the half-court offense. Saki left alone, right side, doesn't shoot it. Gets it back from Robinson. Green into the corner, left side, St. Hilaire dribbles into Stevens and gets it back out to Green with 5 to shoot. Now wide open 3, St. Hilaire, ball movement. It never stuck, and St. Hilaire got a wide open bomb. Give him 20 in the game on his 4th 3. 66-51 New Orleans. Kerfman still can't find the range, misses the jumper. Rebound Robinson. UNO close to having full command of this one. Saki, cross-court, St. Hilaire fakes the shot this time. And a good patient decision by the top scorer in the Southland Conference so far this season, as Troy Green with a chance to get by Watkins, the freshman. An inspired move by Mark Schlesinger and the UNO coaching staff has paid off in that way, and Alan Eikens with his huge first half with 11 points.
You know, a good point guard assist to turnover ratio should 3 to 1, and you're doing a good job. Here's his 5-0.
Watkins hits another three. He's taken advantage of the extra playing time. 3 of 4 from deep. 9 points in 17 minutes, trying to keep VMI in range with UNO up 68 to 54. Here is Saki in the middle of the court, finding Robinson, who will kick it out to St. Hilaire. Ball keeps moving, helped by Saki. Baseline turnaround, and Robinson not able to get it, but tapped twice to himself. Jackson able to come up with the rebound, and he's fouled.
Well, that's the way to attack the glass on the offensive end. Robert was very, very active. The game's not over. Need to win this 4-minute period before this media timeout at 4 minutes.
5th team foul on VMI is the second personal on Kerfman, whose quiet day continues. Now St. Hilaire finding Robinson, but he's not able to grab it after screening off Mans, and the other way with it, Watkins, the hot hand for 3, misses that one. Man gets the rebound, Watkins right back with it, and cashes in on the second opportunity.
Yeah, Watkins is not shy about shooting it, that's for sure.
And his three-point shooting giving VMI some life back within 11 with 6:45 and counting. Green up top to St. Hilaire. As the Privateer guards trying to be patient around the perimeter, looking for seams. Not a lot of movement this time, but Green uses the screen and hits the free throw line jumper.
Okay, let's make that start, Privateers.
A dozen for Green. 70 to 57, UNO with the lead. The kick out, Conway for 3, misses it. The board to Troy Green, and across the timeline he goes, finding Derek St. Hilaire near side. Most efficient performance from start to finish so far this season for UNO. Trying to finish this one off up double digits. 6 minutes remaining as Jackson in the post against Stevens passes it out to Saki. 8 on the shot clock, and it's running down on New Orleans. Saki penetrates, finds Green, jump stop, and can't finish. But the rebound to Green, who's trying to find a way to shoot it up, and the reverse layup is blocked and controlled by Stevens.
There's a tree in that middle somewhere.
And one of his leaves and branches got the hands on the shot. Kerfman still can't buy a bucket. Now 1 of 11 from 3 as UNO has it and can walk it into the front court up 70 to 57. Camden Kerfman with a 19-point per game average. And UNO's really made it tough on him today. Green to Jackson, who's quickly double-teamed. Again, the shot clock draining on New Orleans. And Jackson called for the charge as he was set up there nicely, although paying the price, Tanner Mans, for the foul. Jackson called for his 3rd personal. So 5 team fouls apiece in the second half on these two teams. Not a lot of whistles in this game. The teams being allowed to play on and playing pretty good clean defense throughout.
I think Coach Les is having a conversation with that official that made that call.
Kirkland checking in for Jackson. Even on a quiet whistle day, coaches will have their say. Catch shoot 3 for Conway. And the loose ball after the miss leads to a foul this time on UNO and Troy Green. 3rd personal for Troy. Another foul away from the 1-and-1 for VMI, so Watkins will look to inbound on the baseline to Kerfman. You see maybe a little gun shy there, Coach, when they're not dropping. Usually you'd see him fire that one off. Down to 12 to shoot.
You got to give some credit to Saki, too. Saki's really causing havoc.
And that time coming a little closer. Saki right in his face, but Kerfman able to make just his 3rd field goal of the game.
It was a tough shot for him, but Saki making it life miserable for them today in this ball game.
11-point UNO lead as we approach 4:15 left. Dowdy feeds Kirkland down low. Lefty jump hook is an air ball. Conway with the loose ball, and Kerfman will bring it across the timeline. Looking to attack. He'll step back for three, and that's what you're worried about. He hit one jumper, and that can get a guy like that going. His second long ball, 8-point game with 4 minutes left. A dangerous lead as high as 17 to just 8. Privateers with the basketball, 3:55 remaining. And if you're UNO, you just want to come up with a good shot on this trip to try to stem the tide against the Keydets, who will show some trapping pressure here.
They trap the first pass and stay with it. That's the way to attack the press.
And Alan Eikens coming in off the bench during the timeout, getting space to do what he does best, dribble, drive, and draw the foul. Troy Green, by being patient and avoiding the track, found the open man. And really good job by UNO seeing a different look out of the timeout and getting a guy in Alan Eikens to the free throw line, who should get a good confidence boost out of the way he's played today, despite not starting for the first time. First free throw up and in for him this afternoon.
I thought that was a good move by Coach Schlesinger and his staff, deciding this particular ball game what be good matchups that give them the advantage to win the ball game.
And Alan Eikens makes both foul shots to give UNO the 10-point lead once more. Here is Kerfman attacking Sackey. This time he gets to the hole and scoops it up and in. You can't keep a good score down long. Kerfman up to 12 in the contest and taking it upon himself to will his team back into this game.
They're trying to trap the first pass.
Green has it slapped away from behind, trying to get it to Alan Eikens in the corner. In the first half, we had 6 ties, 5 lead changes. UNO took over the ball game after leading by 1 going into the second half to build the 17-point lead. But we've talked about it throughout the broadcast. A team that can hit the three like the Keydets can rally in a hurry. Here is Green inside the arc with 12 to shoot, matched up against Watkins. Should be a matchup he favors, but he passed it off to Sackey instead. He'll look to drive, and Wild on the miss by the reverse attempt. VMI gets a stop they need, down 8. Down the floor, Watkins to Kerfman again. He scoops it up and in. And the young freshman Watkins playing exceptionally well in this game, coming up with the assist that time. It's a 6-point game with 2:43 remaining. The momentum in the hands of the Keydets, but UNO still in position to put this one away with Green on the bounce. Against Watkins, he attacks this time to bank it in. He's really got to go after the young man, a freshman in that matchup. He saw it that time. Now quickly down the floor the other way, Conway on the reverse from the feed from Mans.
This has really been an entertaining basketball game. Both teams are scoring. Both teams have a never die attitude. I love the way they're attacking each other.
Green up top with 2:10 remaining. Gets it back from Sackey. 74-68. Privateers with the lead.
They switched that on defense.
Taller defender Mans matched up with Green now in the matchup zone look. A screen from Jackson frees up the jumper, and that's right in Troy Green's sweet spot. You couldn't have asked for much better for UNO running the shot clock down. Back to an 8-point lead, 1:45 to go. Stevens up top, doesn't shoot the open look. Now Mans on the dribble around Stevens. And here's Kerfman with it. He might not give it up. He might not give it up here, Coach, as Stevens trying to set a screen for him. He's forcing his way in. He's scooping it up and missing but the foul. Sackey couldn't do much more there. Stayed with him the whole way, but confidence gives you that extra boost, that extra step, and Kerfman has it now. Just 2 of 12 from deep. But after he hit that pull-up mid-range jumper, it got him going. Up to 14 points and now at the line. As you'd suspect, a really good free throw shooter. How about 10 of 10 on the year? And the announcer's jinx got him.
A rare miss.
One they could ill afford in an 8-point game. With another to come. Kerfman, this time pure. We'll see what kind of pressure the Keydets bring in the backcourt. Trying to double team Sackey to get the ball out of his hands, but that allows St. Hilaire.
Don't need a quick shot, need a good shot.
And he's got to watch out for the trap and does pass it out. And the UNO experienced guards, all of these guards with 3+ years of college experience. Up top, Jackson, and a foul on Troy Green as he is called Green. But the Privateers will try to slow Watkins down in the backcourt as the clock ticks towards 60 seconds remaining.
Just stay between the man and the basket.
Watkins
test every shot.
Loses control of it out of bounds.
That's good defense by St. Hilaire.
Not sure what the thinking was there with Kerfman. I don't know if he wanted the ball or to set a screen, but Watkins against St. Hilaire's pressure here, so you know who they want to get the basketball to. It goes to Robinson, and now Saki will handle it in the backcourt.
Might be a foul. Might be a quick foul.
Trying to guard here for a while across the timeline with it, and Saki keeps running clock.
That's lightning in a bottle.
Playing keep away, and at this point, the Privateers look like they were under control, but now on the floor, Robinson dives for the loose ball, and Izzy across the timeline for an over and back. No signal early. Another conference for the officials. And the decision finally comes, and it is an over and back call on UNO. So Saki was playing keep away, and once he gave up the basketball, Privateers coughed it up at half court, exactly what VMI needed, down 7.
Got to guard that three-point line against this team.
44.4 seconds remaining, and no question, VMI is going to be looking for the 3. Shot clock reset to 20 to get that right, but I'm sure VMI is not going to be holding the basketball that long. Watkins will put it in the hands of Kerfman. I think that's what they wanted on the last possession. Now he has it. Trying to drive against Saki. The runner is short. The loose ball is on the floor and saved by VMI. Watkins step back 3 off target. Rebound Derek St. Hilaire. Privateers force 2 tough shots. And now with a 3-possession lead, go to the line with 28.4 seconds to go.
That was really good defense by the Privateers. They were very determined on that. Everybody in the gym knew they were going to go for the 3, and St. Hilaire did a good job of running them off the 3-point line, and Kerfman was forced to shoot a runner.
And Daniel Saki's defense on Kerfman continues to shine. 1-and-1 with the first up and in by Derek St. Hilaire. 3 steals for Derek today to go with another high point total. Trying to surpass his average once again, and he does. 5 rebounds as well for D. St. UNO up 9. Now Watkins the other way, Euro step, and can't get it to go. Almost got the conventional 3-point play on the foul by Allen Ikens. Clock stops with 23.3 remaining. So I think if you're VMI, probably not coming up with the win in this one and going 1-2 in the event. But Brennan Watkins' performance today out of Kearney, Missouri, the 5'11 freshman, he stepped up big.
He shows some toughness. He comes on the court and looks like somebody's little brother. But he ends up showing that he belongs out there on that floor. I love his guts and performance today.
Made the first, second one up, and also in. Keydets need a quick steal, quick turnover by the Privateers. The inbounds goes to Green, the man you want with it. Him and St. Hilaire, one of the 2, and Troy will go to the line on the other end, facing another 1-on-1 as Mann's called for his 4th foul.
The Privateers is pulling everybody off the free throw line. They will meet them in half court.
So both of these teams getting in this tournament what they were looking for from these games is Green, nothing but nylon on the first of 2. I think the Privateers and VMI in close games against Presbyterian, either one of those could have gone the other way. Have a lot to build on from this tourney as Green misses the second. 79-71, nearing 15 seconds left in the front court. Here is Kerfman, off balance, 3's an air ball. Conway on the backside, blocked from behind by Allen Ikens. Green comes up with it for UNO, and that ought to do it, although Mann's still trying to foul. He'll back off, the clock will run out, and UNO